Well, let me ask you another question. This may be we'll pitch you at odds with Brian Garner, because something you wrote in your book, Legal Writing: A Judge's Perspective, made me think of something Brian Garner said. Now, you were offering several practical examples how to make writing less taxing on the reader, such as, and one example was preferring concrete nouns to abstract nouns. So, for example, you cautioned writers to talk about, quote, shareholders who are anxious, rather than, quote, anxiety among shareholders, because shareholders is a thing. We can visualize a thing. Anxiety is an abstraction. We don't know what anxiety is. We just know it makes us feel anxious, which is a feeling we don't like to be reminded of when we're reading a brief. So that reminded me of this distinction between concrete, starting a sentence in concrete terms rather than abstractions, reminded me of Brian Garner's advice not to begin a sentence with the word however. Brian Garner said he thought however was too ponderous a word. I'm not so sure. I think I think lawyers are fairly comfortable with it, but in deference to Mr. Garner, I avoid it anyway. Where do you come down on beginning a sentence with the word however?
I don't, maybe a little bit for a different reason. I don't like starting a sentence with however. I would prefer to use but only because however is used in an ambiguous way. However, the court, I think you just said this, however you come out on this. Now, that is used in a way that is unlike a lot of times when you start a sentence, however, the batter struck out, as a synonym for but.
Right.
And because when you read words, this is not to keep harping on lessons from psycholinguists, but they tell us there's this immediacy principle, which is just this basic convoluted or a highfalutin way of saying, when we read words, we attach meaning to them immediately. And when you read, however, at the start of the sentence, you don't know which way it's going to be utilized. If it's going to be however the court comes out, or however as a contrast to what you have just read. And so I think I think he does have a good point that it is a little bit more ponderous than but I think the more significant counter argument to utilizing however is there's an ambiguity that is just not present when you use the word but.
Right, and I think that also goes to careful and precise comma usage, because that comma will signal which way you are using the word however.
True.